Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm looking at this. This is Count Dracula from 1970. And before I go on, I'd just like to thank Sean, who sent this as a birthday gift. Thank you so much. I'll put his link to his channel in the description. Okay, let's get on then. Now, it's 97 minutes long. Rotten Tomatoes give it 44%. I think it reflects very mixed feelings about this film, and it didn't overwhelm a lot of people at all. I think they're rather underwhelmed by it all, but we'll get into some of the reasons maybe for that. Now, it's an international co-production. So we've got the UK, Spain, West Germany, as Germany was at the time, and Italy. And the story is by Eric Kronk, and it's based on, of course, the Bram Stoker novel Dracula from 1897. It's directed by the Spanish director Jess Franco, who has got an amazing amount of work. It goes back to 1959. Some of the films that stand out are The Awful Dr. Orloff, 1961, The Diabolical Dr. Z, 1966, Succumbus, 1968, and then we've got some Fu Manchu films, The Blood of Fu Manchu, 1968, The Castle of Fu Manchu, 1969, also Venus in Furs, he directed that. That comes up quite a lot in various places. And then The Bloody Judge, which is a Christopher Lee film as well, 1969, as of the Fu Manchu films with Christopher Lee. So Christopher Lee has quite a working relationship with this director. Vampire Lesbos, 1971. Jack the Ripper version, 1976, with Klaus Kinski. And also Women in Cell Block 9, 1977, which in many ways was one of those sexploitation films that he was involved in. He did a lot of soft porn, hardcore porn. So you can see he's got quite a variety of work in what he does. Very prolific. Now, I'll just talk about the locations. Locations are, I think, because of budgetary reasons, in Spain. There is some Italian studio work at Turienia, but a lot of it, as I say, is all in Spain. And I think it looks good. You know, you can see the budget limitations, certainly, on some aspects of this film. Now, originally, he had wanted Vincent Price to take on this role, but it wasn't possible. It didn't come. And then, in the end, he got Herbert Lom. But he was late arriving, Herbert Lom. So all scenes with Christopher Lee were all done separately. That's how it had to be because of the various schedules. So let's get into the cast. We've got Christopher Lee, of course, who plays Count Dracula. And of course we know he plays Count Dracula as he did in 1958 for Hammer. And He did 8 appearances for Hammer as Dracula. There was just one he didn't do for them. But his list of films is incredible, and as well work for Hammer. He was of course in The Curse of Frankenstein, 1957, playing the monster. He was brilliant also in The Hound of the Baskervilles, 1959. Wonderful Hammer productions. He was in Amicus' first film, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, 1965. I've got to mention that he was in, of course, the brilliant Hammer film, The Devil Rides Out, 1968. He's in a few films here and there of Hammer, various ones I could mention. There's lots more, but I won't, because it will be here a long time. He did 5 Fu Manchu films. He did Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, and that was in 2000. The Two Towers, 2002, and The Return of the King, 2003. He played Salaman. I know that he wasn't very happy about being cut out in some aspects of that film. We see him more in the extended editions. Also, he was in Star Wars. I mean, this is a massive career. He was in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, playing Count Dooku. I've not mentioned that he was in a James Bond film with Roger Moore, The Man with the Golden Gun. I mean, you could just carry on and on about what to with all the films that he was in. It's just amazing amount. What an actor! What a legend! Who could not love Christopher Lee? He always gives great performances. Then we've got Herbert Lom. Wow, he plays Professor Van Helsing. Another one with an amazing career that pops up all over the place. He was in Mysterious Island, 1961. He was in El Cid, an epic film, Charlton Heston, 1961. He was in The Phantom of the Opera. Yes, he did the version that Hammer did of The Phantom of the Opera. He was in those Pink Panther films. Let's see, I think it's from 1964, 1975, 1976, 1978, 1982, 1983. He did all those. And then I have to mention him because he's one of my all-time favourite films, which is Stephen King's, directed by David Cronenberg, The Dead Zone. Oh yes, he's in that, and he's very good in the role he plays there. Absolutely, it's a great film. That's from 1983, Cronenberg film. Absolutely love it. I talk about it a lot, but there we are. Then we've got Fred Williams, who plays Harker, Jonathan Harker. The most famous film that he is in that I can see is A Bridge Too Far from 1977, which was directed by the brilliant Richard Attenborough. Then we've got Maria Rome, who plays Mina Murray. She was in Vengeance of Fu Manchu, 1967, of course, with Christopher Lee. Venus in Furs, there it is again. That pops up. I mean, that's a Franco-directed film anyhow. So, Venus in Furs, 1969, and also The Bloody Judge. That's 1970, and that is Christopher Lee. Yeah. Oh, wow. All these films that just pop up. Then we've got Soledad Miranda, who plays Lucy Westerana. Yeah. Now, she was in Franco's Vampire Lesbos, 1970. She Killed in Ecstasy, 1971. I think that is. And then The Devil Came from Akasasana, which was 1970. Now, sadly, she died in a car crash in August 1970, aged 27. And apparently she just signed, or was going to sign, some more deals. She was going to become quite an important actress. She was getting a lot of roles, a lot of recognition in the films that she was appearing in. But sadly, we'll never know what would have happened. Then we've got Klaus Kinski, yes, who plays Renfield. He's not very long in this film, but he's there, brilliant as ever. But Kinski, well, he's got an amazing career. He had such an amazing career. For a Few Dollars More, 1965. Dr. Zhivago, 1965. Venus in Furs again, 1969. And Jack the Ripper, which we mentioned as well, 1976. Then Nosferatu, The Vampire, 1979. And a film that he's really known a lot for and got a lot of praise for, which was in the Fitzgeraldo from 1982. That one is mentioned a lot. He was in that one. So those are the main sort of actors. The story, it is the known story. Harker coming over to Dracula's castle with his legal documents that need to be signed. Dracula, now in this, Dracula appears quite old. And as the film goes on, Dracula gets younger because he's drinking more blood, which gets him to look younger. Now, of course, as we know in the story, well, we should do anyhow, he imprisons Harker and, well, in this now, and he sees his fiancée, and so he ends up, the reason why he comes to England is his fiancée, who he fancies a bit of blood from her. I think he rather likes her, as they say, by heck. So that's how he ends up in England. But I have to protest, as a Yorkshireman. Where's Whitby in this? In novel, we've got Whitby quite clear in some other adaptations, but not here. It always ends up in blooming London. Why? Anyhow, sorry, that's me going off on one, but there we are. It's the traditional Dracula story, but I think I tend to agree. If you compare this with the Hammer films, Hammer didn't really always stick to the story. The Hammer films seem so much better. Yeah, particularly the original Dracula one from 1958 with Christopher Lee. There's something about the Hammer films. They're an absolute delight. It's okay. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't sparkle. It doesn't quite get you there. It's good to see Christopher Lee. And when you see Klaus Kinski, you think, oh, I want more of him. Because he only popped in, I think, for about a day's shooting, did his scenes, and off he went. But Lom, I mean, who could not love but Lom? But there's something not quite right with it. Is it the direction? The direction, it's very much typical of it. I noticed some of these scenes where he kind of zooms in close to the face and then zooms out, and it gets a bit tedious actually sometimes. It doesn't really always work. And the low budget restraints are all there, and The ending appears a bit of an anticlimax, you know, burning Dracula like it does. It all sort of happens and that's it. But I can understand there were proper budget concerns here. They didn't have the money. I would recommend watching this, and I think you can get a lot of enjoyment from it. But don't expect the quality of what we had with Hammer. Hammer were just in a league of their own. Absolutely love Hammer, as you know. And don't forget, Christopher Lee wanted to do this. He always said he wanted to do a faithful version of the book, and here was the opportunity to do it, and he did it. But that's my opinion. But I enjoy it, and I would recommend you watching this if you can. Before I go, there it is. Great cover, isn't it, that? Great cover. And there's the back. There's some nice extras on here. Look at the disc there. Brilliant disc. And also, I think if you look on here, look at that cover. The original cover there. Fantastic. So, that's it. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We'll let you know when I put out these videos, and have a look in the playlist and all that. You can see all the films I do and review, also TV series and some music and all that kind of stuff. But if you like this particular video, please give this video a like. It really helps. It gets it out into YouTube on algorithms and all that. Hopefully other people might enjoy it. Perhaps they won't. And if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments, and I'll always reply. I absolutely love reading your comments. And buy a kit cost note. So that's it. So all I gotta say is, I'll see thee again.